Hey everyone, hope you're doing well today. I've got some coffee table books here. I love coffee table books and I love Star Wars. So, kind of a match made in heaven here. I've got a nice stack of a lot of different Star Wars coffee table books, a lot of different variety. Now, these are all pre-Disney, and I think the contents of all of this stuff might be prequel trilogy as well. So, it's going to be a lot of fun to look through. Let's check out the first one. To start us off, we have not quite a coffee table book. This is the Vader Project auction catalog, which someone essentially came across a bunch of Vader helmets and sent them to all kinds of different artists who basically painted them however they wanted. And as you can see, these are pretty far out there. Everyone's going to have their favorites and ones that they think are not so great. But obviously the auction is long gone. You can't bid on these or anything. But it's just a neat artistic interpretation of the Vader helmet and just doing something different with them. And I've seen art presentations like this before with Vader helmets, and I think it's a pretty neat thing. Just something unique that you don't see every day. So that's why I grabbed this one, even though the auction's in the past. Next up is probably the most all-around coffee table book I have about Star Wars, and that's From Concept to Screen to Collectible. And this book does a nice job of showing you a lot of stuff from when the movie was being conceived. So you've got a lot of artwork, some storyboards, you've got the models they used for the special effects and things like that, as you see here. And then a lot about the movies themselves, when they came out, etc. And then a lot about the merchandising. And the great thing about this book is that it serves its purpose as a coffee table book, but at the same time, it's also just a really nice, informative book to read through. So you can read this like a standard traditional book, and you'll still get a lot out of it. It's not just captions next to pictures and things like that. So if you're going to get one book out of this pile that I'm going to show you here, I think this is probably the best one because it does the most things in the smallest package. Next up is Marts' Price Guide to Worldwide Star Wars. And this was written by Steve Sansweet, who back in the day was the Star Wars collector. He supposedly had everything, every product that ever came out that was based on Star Wars. I doubt that's the case today with the Disney stuff that's out there now. There's just so much of it. But this is a lot of old stuff. Just if you want to see a lot of old Star Wars products from when the original trilogy was big, this is a fun book to look through. The prices obviously don't matter anymore, but you've got all kinds of stuff here beyond toys. You've got party supplies, you've got advertisements from stores, cardboard stand-ups, things like that. So all kinds of different things, whatever you can think of. I mean, on this page, you're going to see a soap dispenser, a C-3PO tape dispenser, just all kinds of weird stuff. So just a treasure trove of stuff to look through from the past. Now we come to the Illustrated Star Wars Universe, which was written by Kevin J. Anderson, and the artwork is by Ralph McQuarrie. So Kevin J. Anderson did a lot of the Star Wars novels back in the 90s, and Ralph McQuarrie obviously needs no introduction. He did a million pieces of concept art for Star Wars. I'm not sure if all of this artwork is from before the movies or if some of this was done later by McQuarrie himself. But this is a really cool book because it really reads like a travel guide. It kind of goes planet to planet. And in that sense, you kind of get a bird's eye view of everything that goes on in these planets that they may not have touched on during the movies. So what kind of monsters are there? What's the weather like? All kinds of different things. What are the people like? Is it dangerous? So it really reads like a travel guide, which I think is unique to these sort of books and Star Wars books in general. So the art combined with the writing style, definitely worth checking out. Next, we have the Action Figure Archive. Now, this is going to show figures from the Power of the Force 2 series, which was from the mid-90s, when they basically did new figures from the old trilogy. And you're going to get the old figures as well, the classic ones from when the movies were brand new. And what I like about this book, it's more of a reference guide than anything because there's so much information packed into it. But as you can see by looking at the pages, everything is big, bold, colorful, it's just a lot of fun to read through. And there's enough information in here. I would say the one downside to it is that the pictures are so big and vibrant and there's so many figures covered that some of the cards and things like that, as you can see there, they're a little small. They'll sometimes show variants of figures, but they're so small you can't really see them. But overall, really, really fun book to read through. Anyone that likes Star Wars would enjoy this. Next up, something a little different. This is From Star Wars to Indiana Jones, the best of the Lucasfilm archives. And this is a rare treat because you often don't get books about Star Wars and Indiana Jones, but obviously Lucasfilm worked on both. And I'm guessing if you like Star Wars, there's a good chance that you like Indiana Jones as well, if you grew up in the 80s especially. And as you can see here, this deals a lot with pre-production stuff, a lot of different props, a lot of different storyboards, concept drawings, things like that. And that's the case for the Indiana Jones stuff as well, which you'll see in a moment. And it's, like I said, it's rare that you get information like that with Indiana Jones. It's usually just Star Wars. There's a wealth of information. You can almost never read enough Star Wars, but the Indiana Jones stuff here gives a lot of insight into a trilogy that everyone loves almost as much as Star Wars, but isn't marketed quite the same way. And lastly, this is the most fun book that I have about Star Wars. Not even close. The Star Wars Scrapbook is just so fun to flip through. And I'm going to probably run a little long on this one, just kind of flip through everything and just show you what there is to see, because it is a really unique book. Right off the bat, you can see it's spiral bound. It has that weird flap to open it up. And there's just a lot of interesting little treasures here from the past. You can see an old newspaper article. There's an old picture of Mark Hamill that I've never seen before. And a lot of different posters you'll see as we flip through here as well. Old photos from the set. That C-3PO mask there, you can actually cut that out if you wanted to. And now we're getting into the really, really interesting stuff, because this isn't all printed on the same paper. This official Star Wars Club letter, that's on a different stock paper. And as we flip through here, we see the early bird special and stuff like that. The C-3PO fun meal thing can also be cut out if you like. And this X-Wing can be punched out and folded together as well. So really, really cool stuff. What other book do you see with things like this? Silver stickers from Japan that you can actually take off and stick somewhere. There's an interesting poster from Asia as well. And it's so unique. I'm so happy that I stumbled upon this book. I don't even think that I asked for this book or was aware of it. I think someone bought it for me as a gift, and I just couldn't be happier to own it. There's some Revenge of the Jedi letterhead, and I believe there's a Blue Harvest one as well. It's the Asian Japanese fan there. Yeah, Blue Harvest. And then we're coming up here, there's the card for the Boba Fett missile launching figure that was discontinued, so you can actually get a good look at that. It's to scale and everything. And this envelope is maybe the coolest thing in the book. So we open it up here and you see it's a greeting card with Return of the Jedi on it. So that's kind of nice, but what could this possibly be? It's actually a replica of the card and the pass that people were sent to see a screening of Return of the Jedi on the opening night. So it comes with the movie pass as well. How cool is that? I love that piece. It's just so cool. So there's all kinds of stuff in this book to find like that. And I know I'm spoiling a lot of it for you here, but it's just so cool to look through. You see like those popsicle wrappers, different cartoons. And like I said, we're just going to keep flipping through here. There's some more candy or popsicle wrappers. There's some badges. There's just countless things that you're just like, wow, I've never seen those before. I wonder if any of them are still around. These things, they look kind of like wristwatch bands. I'm really not even sure what they are. And a lot of candy wrappers and things like that. So trading cards, you can go on and on. And like I said, so much of it in this book is tactile, and you can actually mess with it with your hands if you want to. I'm going to try to keep mine nice, but it is really tempting to pop some of that stuff out of there. Just a really, really cool book. So much fun. So that's everything as far as my Star Wars coffee table books. And I'm a big coffee table book guy, like I mentioned before. So I have other non-Star Wars ones that I'd like to show you in another video down the road. But what do you think of these? Do you own any of these? Do you plan on picking up any of these? I'll try to put the links below to any of them that still might be in print. I assume some of them aren't though, so you might have to track them down used. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you like these books as much as I do, and pick some up if you don't have any. They're really, really fun to look through. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.